Hello everyone and welcome to the quarterfinals Quandary. This is myself and Cold Pro.
Hello.
We are back once again. I took some leave from the round 2 warp-up, but I'm back. Unfortunately, Dessert Monkey could not make it to this one because he is busy working. So it's just me and Cola. Yeah, let's get on to things. So we're just gonna talk about the groups. We had 3 groups of 3, and it was made up of the people who won the round 2 sudden death matches and then the people who lost the winners matches. And we ended up getting Group X. We got MTB, Yoga Menyo, and Verso. We'll start by talking about MTB versus Yoga, perhaps the most controversial race of the round. Neither of us were there for it, were we, Cola?
No, I wasn't. It was happening when nobody was around, unfortunately.
Yeah. I think I was at a friend's place that night, so I wasn't able to be there. So they just streamed on Discord and recorded. So what happened with that match was it ended up being 7 minutes too short. So we set the minimum time for quarterfinals matches at 35 minutes. And MTB ended up beating Yogi, ended up finishing 7 minutes, 28 minutes. And then, it was a pretty close race, actually. But, I mean, it's what you would expect with a 28-minute long race. And it was very linear as well, because it was just to beat the first island. And they had to get some gems. In Twin Saturday,
visit Papu's house
and visit Papu, yeah. But it was generally pretty I would call this round, the quarterfinals, the return to linearity, because there was some very, very linear races this round, definitely compared to the sudden death and round 1. But yeah, it was a close race, it was a fun race, but it was too short, and so we made a decision. We only found out how short it was.
It was 7th September.
Yeah. So we were like, what should we do about this? Because we only found out a week after it was recorded and 4 days after the revised deadline, because this round did get pushed back because of the dropouts of Crash for 1596 and Vinny, which we'll get to when we talk about.
So most of this was because Yoga didn't want to send the footage before he rendered it, so he made it a file smaller. And I said to him, you don't have to render the match. If 1.5 gigabytes isn't that much really of storage, I can handle it. But he insisted, so I let him. This was before we knew that the match was void, by the way. So
yeah,
if he sent the footage to me earlier, I would have edited it earlier, and we would have realized earlier as well.
Yeah, because Cola didn't work out. Nobody kind of realized it on the day, but Cola didn't work out that it was 28 minutes until he got the footage of Yoga. He already got MTB's footage before, but as you do, you wait until you get both competitors' footage before you start editing a race. So Cola put it into Vegas, and he was just like, oh shit, this race is even Yoga finishes under 35 minutes. So I mean, it's a tricky situation. Like MTB did very well this round, especially on his race with Verso, which we'll talk about in a second. But it was mainly to set some precedents that to stop people just being like, oh, whatever, minimum time doesn't matter. And the reason we put a minimum time is that the race is long enough for there to be a clear winner, not somebody winning by just pure luck and just being good at one thing.
In past tournaments.
Yeah, we wanted to make it sure that each race was long enough that if someone did do a little mistake, they'd be able to catch up. And I guess it was Yoga Menyo's fault. I mean, he lost the race for it being short as well. But at the same time, we want to discourage this kind of behavior. And because they didn't tell anyone, they didn't work it out or tell anyone since they uploaded it, it was a week ago. We were like, all right, we're just going to avoid that race, and neither of them will get points, which you might think is a little bit unfair, but it's really to set this precedence that we don't want races, especially to go under time. Overtime is okay. The only real issue with it is that it might be a bit annoying to watch or to stream if you have as a brief streamer, if you don't have much time in your day.
Or to render if it needs rendering.
That's right. It's mainly to prevent that kind of stuff. but like it's not a huge issue if you go overtime. We allowed it like I think once or twice in this tournament.
Yeah.
But like below time, it really does kind of like like especially if like in it we allow a race of 25 minutes or 27 minutes, is we're going to allow a race of 20 minutes when it's like the quarterfinals and this round is supposed to be super important. So
Yeah.
I know it's an issue, and I think it came down to most people just not knowing how long Twinsanity is. The first island doesn't take very long at all. As they're both pretty decent at it as well, which made it shorter. It was a good race. Yoga only barely lost. And yeah, it had some like commentary. It had some like other people that haven't been like in any other race as well in it, or very
and
little.
The race is on the channel if you want to watch it.
It's there. It's there.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, MTB. He did do really well. He also did really well in our second match we're going to talk about, which is MTB versus Averso. I think everyone enjoyed this race. I think this was a really fun race. It was a wheel race. Averso, we thought he was going to win because it was Crash 2, and we all know that Averso's best game is Crash 2. But the wheel it favored MTV, and Averso kind of choked.
I'll talk about this because I was there.
Go ahead.
So yeah, the thing is, at the moment when they started, the first goal was to do bonus rounds in like X amount of different levels, and MTV didn't know that he can exit the level after he completes the bonus round. So everyone was like wondering why MTB's
like I don't know why he thought you couldn't do it either, because it just says complete bonus rounds. It doesn't say complete bonus rounds.
And also I told Averso before MTB was here in the call, and I told guys, you can do bonus rounds.
There was no reason why he would think he had to complete the level. Like,
but
the goal did not say that. So.
He told me afterwards that he didn't hear when I said that, but Averso did. So Averso left the level and did the objective.
Well, I'm sorry, but yeah, like MTB.
It still didn't matter because the reveal was such like.
You say that. I just rewatched this race today, and it was a very fun race to watch. I think Averso had a lot of issues in that race.
Averso wanted to dodge or piston it away. He wanted to do some other levels in 4.5.
Yeah, but he didn't lose just because of that, because the wheel didn't favor him. I don't think that was. I think that was like he did a lot of issues. Like he really screwed up and pistoned it away. Yeah. And then he went back to air crash and kind of just didn't think about what he was doing. He kind of just.
I think he's lost his cool when.
Yeah. Because I think he had like an interruption or something, and it kind of like it put him off a little bit. He just kind of just fumbled around in air crash and like missed where he was meant to go like twice. And then he started getting pretty like angry. I think he like got a box in Turtle Woods, which he wasn't meant to get, like because you're not supposed to get any boxes.
For the blue.
And then it was very interesting because everyone was kind of saying in the call that like the wheel was favoring Averso with the whole like 5 gems in Warframe 3, but favoring MTB, but I don't think it actually was, because yes, MTB had already gotten 2 gems in Warframe 3, but Averso, they were gems for the previous objectives, which Averso was yet to do anyway. So it actually didn't really matter that MTB already had like a head start, because like he was actually able to use that knowledge and get an extra gem. So what he could have done was he went to plant food to get yellow gem, and then he went into sewer relay to get the gem that the yellow gem requires, because that was one of the earlier goals. He could have gotten the box gem in sewer relay later and then just done both of the gems in Road to Ruin, and wouldn't have even needed to go to Bear Down. So he kind of he fumbled a bit because as you said, he lost his cool, and he could have caught up. Things just kind of got to him. It was lucky that MTB was able to get a gem in each ruin level, which Averso hadn't gotten. But I think that if he didn't make so many mistakes and didn't get so over his head, I think he could have caught up and beaten MTB on that race. But yeah, very enjoyable race, very entertaining. It was also probably apart from some of my races, that it was the only race in this tournament that wasn't, this round, sorry, that wasn't completely linear. So yeah.
And then there's another match in this group, which is Yoga Monio versus Averso. And this match was to complete 100% all open 6 levels, which means, the no-go, rotor, and blah, blah, blah. And this race was pretty straightforward, so kind of linear race. And
very linear, yeah.
Yoga just couldn't keep up, and that's pretty much it.
That's pretty much it. Yeah, like Yoga, he played well. It was kind of like in Twinsanity. He played well. There was no real issue with how he was playing. It's just that
Averso is faster.
Yeah, his Averso is really fast in Crash 2, and the fact that it was kind of like quite a linear race starting from the beginning. I think Averso is used to doing 80% races.
Yeah, exactly.
Or 80% runs, I should say. Sorry.
Runs.
So it was obviously there was a bit of a modification to the normal kind of run, but it wasn't that much of a modification. So Averso was able to, this wasn't bingo, this wasn't the wheel. He didn't have to think on his feet. He was able to just play the game. And so he did pretty well because of that. So really made up for his race of MTB. But yeah, Yoga's not bad at all. I think he's probably better than me at Crash, to be honest. I think it was kind of, I only just won my race with him in round 1, and Yoga, definitely sad to see him go because he
improved a bit while the tournaments. Like
I think he might have. Yeah, I think Yoga did improve. And he's definitely not bad at all. It's just his group was not easy. Like not as easy as we'll just kind of go over the standings actually before I segue into my group. So Group X, it ended up with Averso being on 3 points, MTB on 2, and Yoga on 1. It would have been MTB on 4, Averso on 3, and Yoga on 2 if that race wasn't voided. Once again, I kind of feel bad for MTB about that kind of stuff, but like I feel like we should try to enforce those rules.
We both feel bad, but we are enforcing the rules.
Yeah, like it's mainly for the sake that other people might have picked a goal that was too short or too long, and we've been like, no, you can't do that. And so it kind of, if we don't kind of enforce it, it kind of spits in the whole kind of face of all those people who made sure that their goals were within the right amount of time.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, and I guess in the future, everyone should just keep wary that if it's a game that you're not incredibly aware of how long it goes for, like how long it takes to do things, just make an effort to make sure before you do the race. Either that or, I don't know, because lengthening the race like during the race is not something which is great, especially in the quarterfinals. I know you did that with your race of Abdul, but that race actually would have been exactly 10 minutes.
Yeah,
or was
I know.
15,
it
whatever.
Was exactly 10 minutes.
Yeah. So your lengthening the race was unnecessary, but it was also kind of round 1, so it didn't really matter as much.
Yeah.
I guess kind of just picking a goal before the race starts is probably the best idea. All right, so moving on to Group Y, which is my group. First race was me versus the Acorn.
Yeah.
So interesting stuff happened in my group where Vinny Huber dropped out, I think about 4 or 5 days into the round.
Yeah, that's right.
And he hadn't done a race. I think I was planning to do Crash 1 with Vinny, but he had personal issues,
life issues,
stuff like
and
that.
He just dropped out. When we replaced him with a wild card, we did, or Desert Monkey JK we'll decide to see who's gonna replace Vinny Huber and or Vinny Huber BR, and the person who was drawn was the Acorn. So that's kind of leading into the Acorn.
No, but originally what had happened was we were going to replace Vinny with Tooney SA.
Yeah.
Because in round 1, Vinny came second in the group, and Tooney SA came third. And Tooney was eliminated in round 2 again. I think, who did he race in round 2 again? It was like
me.
Placing home. Oh, you. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So he got pretty pulverized by you, so it made sense to put Vinny in because to put Tooney in because Vinny went to the winners matches and he won against MTB, who MTB was still in the tournament. So putting Tooney would make sense. Except Tooney kind of, even before he did his race with Cola, he really kind of didn't want to be in the tournament anymore.
Yeah.
And
he was burned out of all of the tournaments that were happening.
Yeah,
and stuff.
And when we asked Tooney if he wanted to be back in the tournament, he kept on sending messages saying stuff like, I'll come back in to help you guys out, or like, yeah, if you need my help, I'll join the tournament and stuff like that. It's like, Tooney, like, we don't want your help. We want you to be back in the tournament if you want to compete. And he wouldn't like straight up say like, I don't want to be in the tournament anymore, or like, no, just put someone else in, or like,
he didn't want to.
Is there anyone else you could pick? He was kind of just kept going like, if you need me, I'll come in. So he was going to go away anyway on holiday, on a vacation. So it would have just delayed the round if we put him in. So we're just like, we'll do a wild card for who we get in, and it ended up being Daquan, and Lucas Bolton came second. Actually, he almost got back in, but so me versus Daquan. It was a fucked race. Like, I was raging. I think it's my biggest rage in a race
so far.
Yeah, definitely in this tournament so far. But it was
until
also
our race.
It was also incredibly close. It was like, I think the score was like 43-39 by the end.
Yeah.
And that was only because I got a 2 gems in like the final 10 seconds of the race.
Yeah.
So yeah, like it's another close call race for me. Like, there's been so many races where I've just edged ahead. And I think everyone about halfway into that race thought I wasn't going to win. Yeah, because he was leading for most of it as well.
Yeah.
He was like constantly like 4 or 5 points ahead of me or something.
Yeah. He was. Which was a surprise, like when Ratchet won, or cut up the one. It was a big surprise.
Yeah. I was surprised too. Yeah, because I thought. Yeah, I did really well on some platinum relics. I got some surprising platinum relics. Like, I didn't think I would get them, and that kind of helped a little bit. At least helped a little bit of my like confidence, at least for the rest of it. I just really struggled in I think it was Boneyard, and there was some other level too. I can't remember.
It doesn't matter, whatever. But
it doesn't matter. I won anyway, so yeah. But yeah, very close between me and Daquan. Then Crash for 1596 went AWOL. We were meant to race we were going to race on the 30th of August, which is one day before the deadline. And he went missing around that time. I sent him a message on the 30th, and he just didn't respond, and he hasn't responded since. That's like
I sent him a message on YouTube and on Discord as well, but he didn't respond either.
Yeah, so he has just gone completely missing. We don't know what happened to him. We were suspecting maybe something to do with COVID. I don't really know, because he's in America.
We're very sorry that he dropped out, but it is what it is.
Yeah. I was really looking forward to racing him, and like as I don't know if anyone knows this, but Crash 1596 I've known for like 10 years, and this is his first tournament since I Must Be Arena 7, which was like over 8 years ago. So it was going to be really kind of it would have been a really interesting, fun race if I got to race him. But yeah, unfortunately, he just he was gone, and he didn't come back. So we waited for him for a couple of days, but there was no response. So we had to kind of replace him with who he won against in round 2, Son of Death, which was Graveyard Magician, who I'd already raced in round 1. So it was a repeat race, and the Graveyard Magician was very happy to do it. I think he responded and then did both of his races within like 48 hours. Yeah, like it was very quick. So yeah, I ended up beating him by a fair bit in Crash 2 Bingo, but he had like never played Bingo before, and doesn't have that flexibility like fucking Abdul had, where he played Bingo for the first time
and beat you still. Yeah.
I think I got like 8 goals and he got like 1 or something. It was non-lockout, so
he got like 10 or something or 11.
Right.
I got it.
Yeah. But he said he had fun. He said he had fun in that race, and it was a good race. Yeah, I got some bingo practice in.
And then race?
Yeah, it was me versus
Graveyard.
Yeah, Daquan versus Graveyard. You were there for the day.
Yeah,
Acorn
I was the
were
Acorn side. So the Acorn can start from 25 crystals because he plays on PC6R, which is a Mac emulator. But I told him, no, don't worry, like just start from the new game, and I told like Desert to tell Graveyard to also start from new game, but the problem was that the Desert forgot to tell him, I think, and he still did it with 25 crystals, but it didn't matter at the end of the day because the score was 81 to 12 or something like that to the Acorn, so the score wasn't close anyway, so it didn't
So if
matter.
you're watching that race and you're wondering why only Dacorn has a score, that's because Cola, who was there for the recording of Dacorn's part, he tallied up the score as it went.
Yeah.
But then later on, Graveyard recorded his side because we really wanted to get that race done. We actually just couldn't wait for them to do it live. Time zones, Graveyard's in America, Dacorn's in Australia. So we just got them to record separately. But Graveyard, obviously, Cola wasn't there and was just basically the Zone Monkey in a call with him. Cola, we kind of just wanted to get the race up, so Cola didn't put in Graveyard's score during the race on the video, so it's just Dacorn's score. But yeah, Dacorn won something like, it was like 80 something to.
Yeah, I said it earlier, 81 to.
Oh, okay, right, yeah.
And this was the last race of quarterfinals. This was the last race of quarterfinals, and that went up on the channel. Anyways, that's it for Group Y. The standings are as follows: Kototi at 4 points, the Acorn at 3 points, and Graveyard Magician on 2 points.
Yep. So I'm going through the semifinals somehow, and Graveyard Magician eliminated with Dacorn in the second place face-off.
Also,
group how that ended up.
I'm gonna mention that Graveyard again didn't talk in his races, so it's the reason why you can't hear.
He's the international man of mystery. Yeah, I think he's done the most races in a tournament without talking out of anyone in history. Yeah, so we have that at least. First Brazilian who talks and first person to not talk and do like 6 races in a tournament.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, anyway, yeah. So yeah, like it went from a pretty difficult round. I thought I would just get third pretty much straight away in my round. I thought I maybe could beat Vinny, but I'd probably lose the Crash for 1596. But yeah, it ended up with me just winning all my races and it being like the easiest group by far in the quarterfinals. So yeah, if I could give my place in the semis to UMTB, I would, but that would be cheating or something. I don't know. Just wouldn't be allowed.
Yeah. Anyways,
so your group is up next. You want to tell us about Group Z or Group Z if you're an American?
The Group Z. The Group Z is the best group, by the way, guys. We did all our matches very quickly because we're awesome, and the first match we did was Dark Lizard versus me, fucking neck and neck race. Like both of us were like didn't know who will win. Like Dark Lizard kept saying that I will win, but I thought after like the first 2 warp rooms that he'll win. But
yeah, he was ahead by about 30 seconds to 1 minute for the first about half of the race, I'd say, or the first third at least.
Pretty much, and then he screwed up on the beach ball level, beach ball, and I kind of caught up and he had the lead since that part.
How many minutes did you end up winning by?
Like 2 minutes or something.
Oh wow, yeah, that's so close, especially for Crash Bash. That race was about 1 hour 12 minutes long.
15 minutes or 12 minutes, right? Yeah, 12 minutes.
So I think that's the longest race we've had so far in the tournament. And I was even suggesting that they do Warp Rooms 2 and 3. That would have taken like 2 hours.
Yeah, definitely.
Like 100% Warp Room 2 and 3.
I was saying like, Kotote, don't you can't do that. Yeah.
Yeah. It did mean the race was quite linear, but because it was Crash Bash, it was still pretty interesting.
Yeah.
And
this is the 5th Crash Bash race in the tournament, to be honest.
And it's very interesting you doing Crash Bash again when like you were so anti Crash Bash after the last tournament, but
to be honest, I was not really anti Crash Bash, just was I wasn't happy that there were 12 Crash Bash races in the
Right.
whole thing.
Mhm.
I think that's a bit too many. 12 Crash
Right.
Bash races. That's almost that's more than half of the Crash Bash races so far that we had in this tournament. So
I think Cola he sees Averso as his Slav brother, and he wanted to give him a chance. So that's
you
why they
mean
did
Dark
Crash
Wizard?
Bash. Wait,
Yeah,
did I say Averso?
Yeah, you did.
Well, he's
Yeah,
also a Slav brother.
he is. Yeah,
But
I
yeah,
want Versa to win against Abdul, by the way, but I'll say I'll cut it out actually, or you cut it out because I'm gonna join the Wumpa cast.
No, I'm not cutting that shit out. No, you said it.
Nah, I was gonna say it in Wumpa cast because I'm gonna join the next.
That's alright. You're going on Wumpa Cast. I see. Okay,
Yeah.
alright. Well, there you go. That's just a slice of what's to come in.
Yeah,
the new
I get so.
Wumpa
yeah.
Class. Yeah, the
Wumpa
host crashes Wumpa Cast. That's what I'll call the title of the video.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Alright.
that was a fun race. Moving on to Dark Lizard versus Blazy Hull. Actually, Kotote was in this race more than me, so like the first half of it, I was not there.
Once again, it was a very linear race. It was just a race to I think it would just finish all the
all the jet ski levels, 100% all the jet ski levels. I think.
Was it 100%?
Oh no, it was
no,
end of level. Yeah, it was.
Yeah, if it was 100%, that would have been really interesting with fucking like Coco and shit. That would have been like a disaster. But
yeah,
they had to get 5 relics. It was a very linear race, and Placy Hull, I think he lost by about a minute. It was really close. Both of them did really well. It's just
none of them did any mistakes. Like
no, it was just
no real mistakes.
It was just literally just Dark Lizard just being slightly faster.
Yeah.
So yeah, pretty disappointing for Placy Hull, who he played really well. And it's just
if he was in another group, he would have.
I think so. Yeah. Like if he was in my group, he might have come first. I reckon.
Yeah.
So yeah, kind of sucks. And I mean, the same thing can kind of be said about the final race in your group, which is you versus Placy Hull.
Yeah. So like me versus Placy Hull, the match was 100% the fourth warp, which is my idea, and again a linear race. We had to play to the beginning to the fourth warp, and then finish. And again, none of us really made any mistakes. It's just that I had faster movement, and that's really what decided.
Yeah, it was does he know how to neutral slide spin?
No, yeah, he does, but he just doesn't do it as fast as I do, and
yeah.
He didn't do the cold hard crash bonus round glitch and stuff like that. I don't know how his digging it went as well, because there's a way there's a handle route for digging it, which I don't know he did, but
yeah, Warprint 4 has the hardest levels in Crash 2, basically.
Yeah,
in it.
And that's why I chose it, because it's fun. And also the race was close. Like he finished when I finished. He had 2 levels to go through. I think Cold Hard Crash he had to finish, and something else. Maybe I can't remember which level it was.
Yeah.
Maybe Ruination of Cold Hard Crash. So,
yeah, like it shows how difficult your group was when Placy Hull, who's very decent at Crash,
got eliminated.
lost both of his races and came last in the group.
The thing is, that was like 5 minutes or something of a difference between me and him. So.
Well, I mean that's still good on fucking Crash 2.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. So.
Also, this was a rematch.
Me, I think.
Yeah. This was a rematch from Resurrected, by the way.
Oh, right. And who won that race? I think he did.
He did, yeah.
Yeah, wow.
I wasn't that good at Crash then, but yeah. Anyways, moving on to the standings. So I finished at 4 points. Dark Lizard finished at 3 points, and Placy finished at 2 points. So that means the second chance 3-way match is between Dark Lizard, MTB, Marcus Terry Bedford, and and the Acorn. So, yeah.
Yep. So we're not going to say too much because we kind of like to leave kind of speculation about stuff to the Wumpa cast. But the second place face off, I think that MTB would be I don't know, like him or like who's better out of him and Dark Lizard?
Like I think it's gonna be close. Like it's just gonna come down to the day. I think whoever has better.
Yeah. I think
movement
Daquan is gonna come a solid third in the race.
Yeah.
But, yeah, MTB
Mhm,
versus Dark
obvious.
Lizard. I don't know about that. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, they're both really good. So,
Yeah.
and I hope MTB wins simply because I feel kind of bad about what happened with
Yeah.
yeah. But like, obviously, I'm not gonna, you know, if Dark Lizard wins, then you know that's fair enough. Yeah.
Yeah. By the
Yeah.
way, moving on, I want to talk about the matches in general. So from the beginning of the tournament, we had still two CTR Nitro Fuel races, still one huge adventure race, 11 Crash 1 races, 28 Crash 2 races, 22 Crash 3 races, 7 CTR races, 5 Crash Bash races, 1 Wrath of Cortex, 1 Crash Nitro Kart, and 1 Twinsanity, which is Void. So that in total is 79 races, with 1 Void race.
Yeah, so Crash 2 is still in the lead and probably will stay in the lead now that the semi-finals it's going to be a medley of Crash 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah.
The grand final will also be involved 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah.
We're not exactly sure what the final chance foursome is. We can announce right now that the second place face-off will be Crash 3.
3.
And we can also say that the final chance foursome cannot be Crash 3. So whatever game the second chance face-off is cannot be the game for the final chance foursome.
Yeah.
So that could be Crash 2 or Crash 1. We don't know yet. The competitors will probably either decide or there'll be a wheel if they're unable to decide together.
That's right.
And but yeah, Crash 2 definitely the favorite. Not incredibly surprised given it's like, I guess, the most kind of like definitive kind of platform heavy Crash game.
I wish I'd done more Crash 1 races, maybe, actually.
Yeah, I mean, I always try to encourage them, but I can understand why people are not super big on them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is fine. Still, 11 is okay number. I think maybe even more than the last time.
I'm hoping that I'm probably going to lose this round, the semi-final, so I'm going to definitely be pushing for Crash 1 in the second chance.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be good.
So moving on, Rotipot. So this is your favorite races of quarterfinals. I'll let Kototi go first. What is your favorite race of quarterfinals?
See, look. I reckon MTB versus Averso was fucking amazing. I think that was an amazing race and definitely one of the best matches of the tournament, if not the best in general.
I thought you were gonna say me versus Lizard, but
yeah, you versus Lizard was a good race. I did have a lot of fun. But at the end of the day, it is Crash Bash, and there's only so much nail biting that can be done with Crash Bash. So,
yeah.
No, Verso versus MTB, it was very interesting. It was very fun. The wheel really added
the stick kid wheel.
Yeah, the stick kid wheel, not the Game Standy wheel, it's the stick kid wheel, and it was done kind of as it should be, very well. Yeah, very very fun race. I'll let you talk about yours, actually, now. And we'll discuss.
My favorite Rotipod.
Yeah.
It's actually Averso versus MTV.
Yeah. It was a really good race, so I don't blame us for picking the same race.
I was gonna say maybe me versus Lizard, but then again, I didn't watch his part of the thing, so... And I think it's, as you said, it's Crash Bash, but... So it's like, I don't know, man, it's close, but I think MTB versus Averso is better.
Yeah. Like, I'm gonna also throw the hat in the ring, me versus Dacorn. Just general, like, I'm probably like people watching that are kind of a bit embarrassed, to be honest. Like, I should definitely be embarrassed by that behavior in that race, but just the fact that all happened and I still won by such like a little amount and was really close, that I don't know, that race is going to be very interesting to kind of watch back in the future. So yeah, but MTB versus Averso was amazing, and I think everyone in the Wumpa cast is going to say the same thing.
Yes, I think so.
Yeah,
that's about it, guys. We summed up everything that happened in quarterfinals, and I hope you enjoyed this quarterfinals Quandary, and we will see you in the next Quandary or discussion that we
Whatever it's
have.
going to be called.
Yeah, whatever we end up calling it for the semifinals.
Semi-final seminar or something like that. I don't know.
Seminar, yeah, pretty much.
We'll see when it gets made.
Anyways,
All right.
yeah, see you guys later. Peace out.
Goodbye.